Sounds good. Good morning and assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm extremely grateful that you guys have joined today. And of all the sessions that I've done in the past, this is the one that I'm most excited about. And this is the one that we are actually going to talk more about how we are truly putting our mouth where our money, putting our money where our mouth is. So today's session is really dear to my heart. And one of the reasons that it is dear is we'll talk about it with our presenters today. So just some housekeeping stuff. Make sure you put your questions in the chat. Make sure you, share your LinkedIn information so that we can connect with you over time. And then lastly, we will open up at the end of the session some audio so that you can ask your questions directly to our presenters as of today. Our presenters today are extremely well known within the circle of our attendees. Dr. Shahid Rafiq is a neurologist out of Washington, and he owns his own practice and has been deeply interested in innovation, etc. He was the chair and current co-chair of Merit in Apna Committee. And then our second, of course, is Dr. Danish Bhatti, again, a neurologist, movement disorder, currently in Florida. And he's also the co-chair of Merit Committee here. We have, and to be honest with you, I'm personally very humbled by them that they have included me in this project we're going to discuss today. And the project's name is Tajdeed. So before any further ado, I will just basically go directly into it so we can have some, at the end, some question and answers we can ask. So first question to my presenters, and it is going to be a question and answer session, a discussion session today, as compared to like a whole presentation that we go for. So Dr. Rafiq and Dr. Bhatti, is it okay? I'm going to talk to you as Danish and Shahid. And then Shahid Bhai and Danish Bhai, what made you start Tajdeed? Tell me about it.
So Danish, you want to go first or I can start?
Hey, Shahid Bhai, please go ahead.
So Tajdeed, what's in the name? First of all, I think most of you know Tajdeed, but just to reiterate, Tajdeed means renewal and something revival. I wouldn't go as far as Renaissance because it's a really big word, and I didn't want to give that impression that we are on to something really, really, really big. Although this is our heritage as Muslims, innovation and inventions. This is our heritage. You see in medicine, you see in geometry, algebra, any field, astronomy. This was our heritage that we lost. Obviously, that's more political, geopolitical, all that. But why can't we regain that? And so, again, once we say Renaissance and all that is a big word, we chose, because we are physicians, a very specific field that we know of, which is medicine and healthcare, and a very specific geographic location, which is Pakistan, that we know of. So during work of Merit, we have done a great work, Danish and myself, for the past 5-6 years. And before that, as a member, myself involved in Merit since 2007. We have done all of its acronym, medical. So Merit stands for medicine, medical knowledge, research, and international training and transfer of technology. So we have done all of that, but the transfer of technology. So that was also something that we wanted to do since last year, to explore the transfer of technology, to explore the field of healthcare tech, health tech as it's called here. And we did last year 37 webinars. This year we are continuing that. We had a conference in Rawalpindi Medical University in December. So all that for a sole purpose of renewal, revival of healthcare innovation in Pakistan. And that's what Tajdeed is. Danish, you want to?
Thank you, Shahid. So let me add to what you've already said. The idea started last year. to explore healthcare innovation, entrepreneurship in Pakistan. And we started reaching out to people, connecting with different labs, the national centers for robotics and automation and AI, and different universities, also researchers, also regulators, NIH, DRAP, HEC, and we invited them in this series of webinars. Initially, the thought was to do a conference, but because of COVID travel restriction, we said, let's just start with webinars instead. And that was a great learning opportunity. I think I've said it in last few webinars, if you attended, that initial thought was to do meetings with these people in small groups, close behind the door meetings of ourselves just to learn what's going on. But then we proposed, why not make these meetings open so we learn at the same time as everybody else is learning? And what we learned was very, very exciting. We saw so much innovation happening. We saw so much entrepreneurship, so many startups, excitement from the regulators and support from the regulators available. And like Junaid was saying earlier, we decided we should also invest our energy, time, and resources and capital in these projects rather than just saying that they should do it. We should be part of it. We should help them do it. So the idea was to help support and promote these healthcare startups. So if I summarize, I'll say that what Tajdeed stands for, the vision that we have is to promote innovative solutions, improving access to healthcare in Pakistan. And there are traditional solutions that we've been doing all the time, building clinics or labs or pharmacies, but they have good but relatively small geographic impact. What we wanted to do was help those startups that are creating innovative solutions, that is improving access to healthcare all across Pakistan, and also create a culture of innovation and a culture of entrepreneurship that leads to us exporting some of these solutions. And some of these solutions were so unique or innovative that they don't even exist in US. And to build on that, I think many Pakistani diaspora physicians inside and outside Pakistan are trying to make an impact on their own. So one goal of this project of Tajdeed was to bring them on a single platform to increase the impact, the size of impact. And secondly, many of us are trying to do innovative solutions or become founders on our own. So that was another big interest, that through this platform of Tajdeed, we wanted to support those Pakistani physicians, either in or outside Pakistan, who want to create startups with some presence in Pakistan. It doesn't have to be exclusively in Pakistan. And we can help create resources for them and help them move along. So that kind of was the thoughts and idea behind the foundation or start of this project called Tajdeed Revive Innovation. Junaid.
Oh, that's fantastic for the introduction. I love it and I appreciate it again. So Revive, basically what you're aiming towards is to go back to our historical origin and state that this is not something new we are doing. We were supposed to be doing it in the first place. And then clearly, as we have seen in the past decade, that there's a complete new pivot and there's a lot of new technologies that are available at a very economical cost that can be exported, that can be available for Pakistan with the help of Pakistani diaspora. So that's just extremely fantastic. And I agree with you that there are two major problems. One is what we call breaking the glass ceiling. So for example, me personally as a clinician, how to break the glass ceiling of going from a clinician to founder. And that's actually, of course, it's a lot of things you have to do, from legal and marketing, compliance, development, etc. And this requires a team. And then this is exactly where Tajdeed comes in, where you have a team building in terms of synergy. So there is actually a decrease of replication of effort and increase of impact and efficiency while we are looking at these projects as a whole. So can you identify a pivotal moment or what inspired you within, because I know we have been doing these webinars for a year or so, but is there like a pivotal moment, or is there something that you would say, oh my God, we didn't realize this? Or is there something like untapped that you felt that you could have actually done this in terms of, Tajdeed, that inspired you, hey, we need to do this now, and rather than, let's say, 2 years from now or 2 years before? So what can you point to that sort of seminal event or something that you would think that true inspiration that materializes action?
I think it's in my case, I would say it was a build-up. I don't think it was an event or a interesting story that I can tell that all resulted in starting this. But I think the frustration that we felt, because all of us, obviously you included, apna members, all of the doctors here in particular, and Pakistani diaspora in general, always think about Pakistan. We came out of Pakistan, but we cannot take Pakistan out of us. So we have to do something. We always think of doing something. And obviously, everybody, I guess, think that how can they get the biggest bang for their buck? Meaning, how can they have the biggest impact? So we tried medicine. We tried in merit, giving lectures, going to different programs for capacity building. We started courses. We started research projects, online courses, which all was good and appreciated by general EPNA membership and leadership. However, in my heart, I was really frustrated that the impact that we were looking for somehow would not happen. And I think probably the major thing was that how can all things come together that we strive for? For example, Pakistan need foreign exchange. We say Zare Mubadala, direct foreign investment. Pakistan need job creation. A lot of hundreds and thousands of youth full of energy, full of talent, looking for good jobs, right? Meaningful jobs. They're doing PhDs, they're doing masters in biotech, they are doing even in AI and information technology and economics and all that. However, there is no culture of where they can get the good jobs. They can not only job, but they can make a difference while living in Pakistan. Not everybody can come out of Pakistan. So job creation, giving hope to those youth. And then, of course, some meaningful invention and company that can make some difference, not all the difference, but some difference. And research around that. So anything that we will invent or try to start, there will be a research project around it. There will be a trial. There will be an impact study. So all that we've been doing for the past over 10 years culminated in this. And I see that this is the path forward. I see that this will be the most impactful, which of course is the goal.
Danish?
So I will say there are two events or opportunities I can think of, which I believe broke the barrier of us starting. The first one was that while we were doing these webinars and identifying all these expertise in Pakistan, a couple of Pakistani physician Apna members, diaspora here, came to us that they have a project and they're looking for someone to be able to do this in Pakistan. And we had by then found out someone who we thought could do it. We reached out, connected, started doing contracting. They said they can do it. So it went much smoother than we thought. There was a project they wanted done. The other side could understand the project. They were willing to do it. They gave us a quote. The people here thought that, yes, that's reasonable. We can get started. And we formed a company around it and we just launched it. So that was one. And then the second one, I think that also, that was us jumping as founders into Pakistani community. But then the second one, which jump-started us as investors or advisors in this field, was in the fall meeting in Apna last year in Dallas. We had a joint session with Open Dallas, and someone presented there his journey of leaving an extremely well-paid job in Boston after being trained at MIT, working as a very, very high-level engineer, running teams in device manufacturing companies here. And he got inspired, had an idea about a device, and he burned all the boats left everything he was doing, went to Pakistan, hired a team, and for 3 years struggled to pull it off and formed it, finally had a product that was helping patients, saving lives in Pakistan. That was already in close to final shape, was already going through paperwork. He had partners in US, had team in Pakistan, had funding raised. So that was very impressive. It was someone really taking that leap of faith, leaving a comfortable life and going there and starting something challenging, risk taking, real risk taking. And it just felt right to support that that person, that Pakistani engineer who has left everything to come and improve the healthcare life of patients, suffering, and making an impact. So by the time we came in, it was not even an idea; it was already formed as a reality. He could show patient stories whose life was impacted by the device he has already made. So we wanted to be on board and support in any way, shape, and form possible. And of course, that included capital investment, but also time investment and resource and network investment in whatever way we can help, including education. So those two were, really big transitions for us last year, and then we get going after that.
No, fantastic. I agree with you that there's, of course, an iterative evolution of ideas, collection of information, networking opportunities, and then available entrepreneurs and learning through their journeys how things have moved. And I agree with Dr. Shahid Bhai that and he has done a lot of work. I mean, mashallah, for years and Apna and everything, and both from a social impact perspective, directly in healthcare, and then moving towards now what he's saying is that how to magnify our impact, and then how what we have learned through these webinars, the challenges that happen, including access to capital, access to mentorship, access to networking, access to other diasporas to actually pronounce or announce or maybe able to advertise those founders and companies in Pakistan that are truly groundbreaking. And this is one of the ways that we have pivoted all the way from pure education to supporting educational webinars to now supporting them both to direct expertise and direct and indirect capital support. So that's fantastic. And I'm, as I said, I'm very grateful to the company that you're referring to. I personally invested, and then their social impact is one of the reasons that I've invested in them. Not only that it has a fantastic financial upside to it, but more importantly, it has a fantastic social impact as well. So we see this, to be honest with you. Here's my problem, right? These kinds of efforts do happen, but unfortunately, they sometimes die. What do you think will be different about Tajdeed that in terms of pursue, you're going to be, first of all, you have been doing this for a while. I mean, it's not just a year, as Danish was saying, because I've heard about these discussions that's been happening at least for 3 years in the past. But what energizes you to first pursue this? Because I know this is a lot of time commitment. And why do you think this will be a successful venture in the future?
I think I can tell you what energizes me and what gives me hope for the success. Yesterday or day before, we were in this conference in Palo Alto, California, arranged by the Park Lodge. And that was the whole purpose, to connect people who are looking for investment as well as opportunities, entrepreneurship, and all sorts of knowledge about Pakistan landscape. So, however, this conference was totally open, agnostic of healthcare. It was, fintech. It was all the different investments. So what I found, and probably Danish will agree, that there were, I think, more than 100, 125 people. We were uniquely qualified to do health tech in Pakistan, because somebody in the presenter said, how many here are founders? And we raised our hands. How many investors? And we raised our hands. How many know the landscape of Pakistan? We raised our hands. So I think the strength that we are coming from is that we have known the healthcare landscape of Pakistan for over 10 years. The regulators, the government sector, the political landscape, as well as the universities and the end consumers, physicians, masses. We practiced in Pakistan, and before coming out, Danish practiced also afterward. So we know every aspect of healthcare. Now, the other part is how to carry on this mission and vision. And I think the hope for success for me is people like you, Junaid. You're part of our group, and the quality and the enthusiasm and sincerity of the group that is Tajdeed. So by the way, I just came up with the name really and shared it with Danish, but all the work and all the things were done by people like you and other present here, and of course Danish the foremost. But I believe in our group. I believe in their talent, in their sincerity, in their ability. I would say competence, and I think we are going to do it.
No, thanks for the kind words, and it's been inspiring just by the energy of the group itself to actually produce and to actually deliver, because the energy is infectious. I agree. Danish, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I want to answer that question a little differently. I think the question is on sustainability and long-term outcome of this project, and the way I would look at it is that I've been working with Apna Merit since 2017 and Shahid since 2007, and I think what significantly changed when we started Tajdeed is that Apna and Apna Merit was always top-down approach. It was always reaching out to the highest officials we can meet and the VCs of institutions and the HEC chair and NIH chair and ministers and even all the way up to prime minister, and trying to bring an influence down. And I think that has not worked very well or very effectively, as effectively as we were hoping for or working for. So this Tajdeed is a bottom-up approach. It's going to the market, going to where decisions happen, where people make choices on what software to use, what program to use, what company to use. In marketplace, it's get successful or die. So that's what entrepreneurship is about. Is that if your idea is really amazing, then people will come to it. They won't have to be ordered or told or have a policy made to come to that product. And if you can really show the benefit of it, people will come to it and it will succeed. And that organic success is much better than a top-down policy change or regulation change, which keeps shifting in Pakistan, as we know, and many, probably everywhere else. And so this is, non-governmental private approach, bottom-up, as compared to what we have done in Apna Merit so far, which was always top-down regulation and institutional leadership. And Shahid Bhai knows that for the last 2-3 years, I've been groaning and complaining that this top-down approach is not working. We go and meet with all these leadership and nothing happens. No significant change happens. And I think we were really ready for this bottom-up approach.
No, great. I just want to clarify, this is not a non-governmental, non-profit organization. It is a for-profit organization of a group of individuals who are investing actively in projects either from Pakistan or mainly the Pakistani diaspora. And we will not dive into the details. We will share those details individually to prospect members as they would like to join our sort of this core group of people or even more, so that they are truly highly motivated in a high risk environment, to be honest with you, as far as startup investing is goes.
And
Dr. Hussain, sorry, go ahead.
Junaid, sorry, this is a good point that you brought in, that it's the clarity of Tajdeed. I wanted to add that while Merit is definitely a bona fide committee of Apna, and we have done great works on that committee and still doing it, and in the future also, the education, research, whatever we can do, we will continue to do. But however, with the new laws of of course, the leadership will change next year, and we will still do our share in merit. It's our baby, and we worked a lot. But Tajdeed is definitely a separate group. It is Apna Doctors, but it is not Apna. So I wanted to make this distinction that it is a for-profit, different platform. And as we develop this, we would like to make that distinction so that there's no confusion about it.
Very grateful, Dr. Hussain, sir. Those who don't know, Dr. Hussain is our foremost panelist and a part of Tajdeed as well. So you had some comments and questions, and I'll move forward with the interview.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Very inspiring discussion, and especially inspired by Shahid Bhai and Danish and Uzair Bhai and of course, Dr. Kalia. I'm new to Apna and not Apna, I'm new to Merit and of course Tajdeed. I just joined about a year and a half ago. But it seems to me that there are two observations I make. Number one, I think our significance or reception by the Pakistani doctors is not as significant as we think we are, because they are busy in their day-to-day life to such a degree that they are polite to us and they are willing to receive within their own time frame what we have to give them. But I'm not certain, and I may be overstating this, but I'm not certain we can really depend upon them for any significant achievement towards the aim that we're going for. That's number one. Number two, on the other hand, I think our group here in the US and this group has the potential to do much, much, much more than we are treading the water and testing the water with toes into the pool to see before we jump into it. To me, we so far, and I've written that also on the WhatsApp, to me, so far we have been following and doing piecemeal investment. And I think the brain power, the money, the the backing and everything has come together to a degree where we, I think, should go for leadership position in entrepreneurship rather than investing into 100,000 there, 200,000 there, et cetera, et cetera.
I just love it, Dr. Hussain. He always pushes the envelope to actually push everyone everywhere. And I agree with his point. And this is one of the reasons that Tajdeed also created is what we consider synergy. So defining synergy is that those are busy physicians who cannot take the time to vet their deals, who cannot take the time to vet founders. This is where we come in to actually facilitate their desire to make an impact. So I love it that he has presented that, and we are definitely moving towards making sure that this goes in. So coming to this,
I just have one more, I'm so sorry. I'm just one very quick comment. And I think we have to, we need to develop unshaking trust in each other, almost to a degree of like a cult. And really,
let's not use the word.
let's not use that word, but almost to a degree of cult in such a way that we put everything that we can into this without looking over our shoulder whether our interest will be guarded or not. And that is the way to be disruptive and achieve the future.
Just to add that, of course, I'm personally working on project management and everything. And the reason behind that is that not only we're going to be extremely transparent about how we're going to run this organization, but that transparency, the amount of due diligence we work through is going to shine enough that you guys are going to be able to trust us. And that's one of the things that I'm personally working on in the background as well, to make sure that you see enough transparency. Of course, there are things that we will not be able to share because of intellectual property, et cetera, but whatever we can, there will be a significant amount of transparency to the members only, that you will be able to trust us completely. And of course, this individual decision. And again, for the members, we'll share how this syndicate model works and everything eventually. Now, let's turn our area towards Tajdeed's what exactly on a ground level, what we're trying to do here. So I see a lot of opportunity in medical healthcare industry in general. So one big pile of things is we're talking about digital transformation. The other big thing is robotics and devices, and the last big thing is medicines, pharma, etc. And we have basically a breadth of things to actually concentrate on. How do you decide, Shahid Bhai and Danish, like as far as which opportunities to pursue and what you actually go out and look for in terms of opportunities and founders, etc. So what is really the next big thing in medical industry in Pakistan that Tajdeed will focus on moving forward? I'll come to Dr. Hayat in a minute after this question.
I think, Junaid, the answer to your question is really the opportunity more than a planned prioritization, right? I mean, if I sit in a drawing room and say, okay, we are going to do first the medical devices and then the digital health and then pharma, I don't know if it will work. What happened, and we've been lucky in this case that we found, leaders and kind of the founder for each of the three that you mentioned. So in pharma industry, pharma, biopharma, and drug development, which is really, really a big need in Pakistan. All three of you, the things that you mentioned, all are needed. Now, how do we or Tajdeed prioritize that? That's how it is. So if Umar had found us or we found him, and we saw that synergy, sincerity, competence is so aligned that it was no-brainer to start there, right? Same thing with medical devices, Adnan Qureshi, you, others who are thinking about Fareed Suri, thinking about devices, Sarwat Hussain. So there's no brainer that we think about that. And of course, the digital health, you are the leader. But if you ask me personally, I would say out of these three, digital health would be needed a little 1920, on this piece. The reason digital health is so important is the data. Anything that we want to do, anything that we want to start, anything that we want to develop needs a data. So if we sooner, it could have been 10 years ago or 1 year ago. So the time is really, really ripe first for digital transformation so that we can get the data and do the things.
I can personally testament to it. The cost of data storage, bandwidth, cloud, the significant transformation of mobile technologies, especially of availability in the hands of Pakistan, has truly transformative. And I mean, believe it or not, the available talent pool in Pakistan is amazing. They're great developers with problem solving skills that I continuously get impressed by. Danish, and to be honest, data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, especially in the era of wearables and mobile technology, is a low-hanging fruit with the highest impact. What you said, the best bang for the least amount of buck. Danish, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, so I think if I boil down the question, it will be who do we help? And I think the answer is that at some level of engagement will help everyone. So you can feel free to reach out to us. We did put in a contact form on the flyer in the chat box. Maybe Waleed can share the link again. If you have any interest or any help needed or any level of engagement you want to do, you can reach out to us. As I said, some level of engagement like education or answering some questions or setting up some initial meeting will help everyone. But then who do we help more and how do we get more engaged? That often depends on the project If we, I personally have very limited time. So if I just focus on a very personal level, I would say that I really need to be convinced that the problem being solved is worthwhile to go after, and is a big problem and have a huge impact. And a solution being offered is something that makes sense to me. As Shahid said earlier, we're healthcare people and we have access to other healthcare people. If I don't know that problem very well, I will reach out to one of the experts in our network and I'll say, this is a problem. Do you agree it's a problem? And this is a solution being proposed. What do you think about the solution? But many of them I can have a direct personal opinion on. And if we're convinced about the scope of the problem and the benefit of the solution being proposed, then we can go all in. And as I said earlier, and we can talk more about what the Z does in terms of support and how far we can help. But we'll go all in. The better the solution and bigger the problem that needs to be helped and solved. But at some level, we'll engage with everyone.
No, I'm extremely grateful to Suzanne. And then just to give you a little bit of more background, I mean, we have been able to synergize some of these different disfranchised or fragmented approaches. And that's where, if you do contact us, we sort of know a lot of people around. So if we don't directly help you, we at least get you in the contact of the right person. And sometimes just advise you, hey, this is really not the project because of XYZ. Why don't you pivot to this? So that what we call startup advisory roles are extremely important to decrease your energies and get to market fit sooner than later. So agreed, we're not only looking for investment members, we're looking for advisors also, and we're looking for people who actually, just want expertise as well. So that's something that we can deliver. As Dr. Bhatti and Danish said that, we're going to continue to go on these. Dr. Hayat, sir, you had some comment.
Thank you very much, Junaid. I just want to make one comment when your original question, why moving from just teaching and training and education to the investment and supporting the new ideas. I will just quote my personal experience. Anacor Pharmaceuticals, for which I worked, got sold for $5.2 billion versus the total Pakistani pharmaceutical industry. Their export per year is $220 million. What I'm going to say is it will take 25 years to reach to the equivalent to the value of the Anacor Pharmaceutical, $5.2 billion. So I think the new idea worth much more than day-to-day operations. And to the physicians community, I will say it's a great service. You are making a big impact seeing the patients day in, day out. But I would really love if you have any new idea which you may not be able to pursue, please share with us. It's not just investment we are looking for or the advisory positions or the time, but also the new ideas, because that's what we are going to build on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hayat. And I mean, he has been an inspiration. And to be honest with you, I get a little, my heart races when he talks about the numbers and his experience as well as a very junior in this particular regard. So thank you so much. So what's the next big thing for Tajdeed on a direct level? Like, what are we working on as far as within a day-to-day in the next year, 6 months, 2 years? What is your trajectory, Shahid Bhai and Danish Bhai, moving forward with Tajdeed?
So as you know, it's developing. It's I think under a year, or although it was in works for a few years, couple of years. But we have invested in a couple of companies. We have founded a couple of companies. We are looking into some companies for investment, and we are looking into some companies or the gaps and the need that exists in Pakistan. So all of it really, and like Danish said, that as our group matures and we invite more people and well-wishers, we're looking for more ideas, as well as we want to, as a group, really learn and hone on the skill of vetting an idea or evaluating a company, because I think that's where the main issue is. So what my take-home message from this conference that we attended was that first of all, you need to see the idea. Is it practical? Is it doable? Is it really something that would make a difference? And the second is the founder. The founder has sincerity. The founder has passion. Why that particular founder? And of course, the third thing is the team that they're presenting. So, and the business model and the business plan that they're proposing. Is it going to work? And the money they are asking, the evaluation, all of it. So these things really needs not only a knowledge skill, but also the experience and the experience of knowing the healthcare market and field in Pakistan. A lot of Silicon Valley people, some of them never had gone to Pakistan, some had gone, and now for a long time they have not been to Pakistan. So as compared to them, I think we are, Tajdeed group, are in a better position to answer those questions when the pitch comes.
No, fantastic. I'm going to first let Danish go and add a few comments of mine.
Okay, so to answer your question, where we're heading, what's next for us, what do we want to do? I'll first start by adding to what Dr. Umar Hayat was saying, that this is an opportunity to access the global market, global financial market. So yes, we can improve things within Pakistan and access the Pakistani market, which is really big, to be honest. It's not that small. But this is the opportunity to also export the ideas. It used to be knowledge economy, but I think it's a solutions economy now. If you can find a solution to a problem and you can sell it, you can export it, you can make big bucks out of it. It doesn't matter where the solution was created. So if a solution is for a problem in US, but the solution was created in Pakistan, it doesn't matter. US doesn't care, the US market doesn't care. As long as the solution is right and it works, they will take the solution and pay for it wherever the solution is coming from. And that gives us a great opportunity in Pakistan to even export solutions. So it cannot be information anymore. It cannot be just ideas anymore. It has to be a working solution. And that's where the startup comes in, that you take an idea from a proof of concept to a working solution, and then you export it or sell it or license it or whatever. How are we going to do it? I think the mission or the goals that we're trying to define for ourselves include, number one, educating and guiding and providing advisory services to founders, to investors, to anyone who wants to participate in the solutions economy. We want to also create, give a vision of what the future of healthcare is and how to find solutions for it. So helping Pakistan actively participate in this healthcare 4.0, which can be done at low cost, even from within Pakistan. It doesn't have to be, some access to huge capital. It's not physical infrastructure like building a big warehouse or a new production factory or something like that. And then lastly, but very importantly, that we also want to provide access to capital. So if you want to create a solution and you want to show it's a working solution, it's relatively cheap, but it's not still free. It still needs a lot of capital, working capital, especially if you want to show it as a working solution within Pakistan before you're able to export, or if maybe it's just a solution for Pakistan, which is fine. That's not an issue. And that access to capital could be capital from us, people of Tajdeed, but also providing an access to capital largely in the market. And as we know, venture capital market or access to that capital size is really, really, really big. I think just in US alone, it was $55 billion of investment last year in startups. It was just US capital. There is European capital, there is Middle Eastern capital. I think the Saudi capital fund for future investment is $50 billion by itself. The SoftBank, and there's so much capital around which is looking for solutions to support, to invest in solutions. And we need to create that map, network, pathway, bridges for Pakistani solution finders, entrepreneurs, as we call them, and provide that access to them. And then we can talk later on what that actual physical shape or infrastructure or structure of organization would look like to provide those solutions. But those are the broad solutions we're trying to provide from Tajdeed in future.
No, and absolutely. And to be honest with you, both Shahid Bhai and Danish are pretty strong about how to actually do the day to day. I mean, there's a whole team. There's a financial team who does the financial due diligence. There's a tech sort of people who look at the tech stack as a due diligence. So there is literally a process that we go through. And of course, the day to day is not the idea behind this particular presentation. And I agree 100% that, idea is what, individuals, D is, deliverability, E is engagement. So you can engage both investors, customers, consumers, everyone. And then A being agile, because that's where we are trying to be, because fail fast and move on, because that's one of the key things that we also think about. It is a risky business at the end of the day. We realize that, but at the end of the day, it's important that we get to that 1 out of 10 sooner than later as well. I'm going to be honest with you. Look, I'm a founder right now. Actually, I've officially announced it and everything. Why should I choose Tajdeed at all? What is the value proposition that Tajdeed brings to me to come to you as a founder rather than somewhere else?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
So I'm just
maybe back and start with the
Yeah.
answer and try
then-
to add later on. So I think what is unique about Tajdeed that we're offering, in addition to capital, which you can find anywhere, probably you can find lot more capital elsewhere, is the part of the guidance and advisory part. We are healthcare physicians. We are in the field. If you think you have identified a problem and you've created a solution, and it's a really a good market fit. But especially if you're not a healthcare provider, but even if you're a healthcare provider, but you don't have the vision of healthcare problems or solutions globally and in North America, then I think we have value to add. We understand these problems. We are founders ourselves. Almost every single one of us in the Tajdeed group right now has been a founder at some level and have done something, and very varied. So all of us has very different backgrounds, and so we bring all this together. We pull it together. So we're like your one-stop shop for a large advisory group. So there's a big number of people with a lot of expertise who sit down, review your idea and debate among ourselves. Then we go back to you and say, okay, this is how we understand your problem is. You're not getting it right. This should be your angle. This is the real problem. And this is the problem with your solution. You have to change or adopt this way. And we not only do it first time, we can do it on an ongoing basis. We can keep continuing giving you feedback. And then I think that is what a lot of outside money is also looking for. So if you have a healthcare solution and you bring it to an investor and you say, a big capital fund, and you say, I have a solution for a problem. Now, they don't know if the problem you're defining is actually a problem or not, and if the solution you have come up with is a real solution or not. So they're looking for some credible support from someone else. So either they hire someone to do the due diligence who's from healthcare, or you can say, well, I have this team of people who are physicians from North America who think that this is a credible problem and this is a credible solution. So we can also lend you our credibility after, saying, doing the due diligence ourselves, and that will become kind of an additional support for your idea to outside fund. And also for buyer, let's say you have a solution and you're looking for someone to buy that solution for it. We can help you guide there and help you connect with the right market and also bring that credibility to that buyer. Somebody's having to pay for your service. If they have not known you, how would they trust you? And having these kind of trust signals by having people like us on board is also very useful for someone who's trying to look for your solution, to buy your solution. Those are a few of the things that come to the top of my mind right away. And I don't know if Shahid, you have some reasons to say why Tajdeed will be useful.
Right. So Junaid, actually, I was looking at the comments in the chat group at that time that you posed the question, and that's why I wanted us to repeat it. But I think it's very pertinent to what the chat thing from Minhaj Kokar, I think, was that we see fund is drying up. So that's some kind of take home also we got from this recent conference, that overall there's a drying up period coming up, and more so for Pakistan for various reasons. But I think the Tajdeed, the reason Tajdeed is better placed or positioned in this drying up period is that, number one, we are only going to entertain things that we know, the solutions, the problems that we know. And we have the people, expertise that can solve those problems. So we know the solution finders, we know this problem, we know the solution finders. We also have access to the investment that is within the healthcare, within the Apna membership, like Dr. Sarvat was pointing out. I am not as pessimistic that, although I think Apna membership or the doctors outside Pakistan have not looked into this, but I think it was not because of lack of sincerity or lack of interest in investing in Pakistan healthcare field, but for the lack of a pathway or clear pathway how to do that. And Tajdeed as a group is going to hopefully clear that and show that path. So I'm very optimistic that even though in the larger scheme of thing, there may be a dry period, maybe more devaluation of Pakistani money, more problems coming in the world economy. As a focused group on a focused solution in a focused geographical area, I think this is very doable.
So this is fantastic. And I have to just say, even as personally, there are 3 people on the screen right now that have exactly changed the way that my strategy works. Danis literally changed my business plan after discussion. Dr. Sarvat Hussain is helping me conduct a clinical study. Then Dr. Uzair has been helping me find contacts for actually in Pakistan to move things forward a little faster. So this is exactly one of the things that we are looking for, is basically direct help. I mean, nothing like they have no capital or as such that have done that. Number 2 was to understand the horizon, right? If I'm developing a product, what else is coming in the market? So we have that sort of access to knowledge platform so that I can synergize with them. So that's one of the 2 things that I'm really important. And then last, the key thing is credibility. Why is it so important, especially in an era where VC funding is drying up? We need to basically vet these ideas and vet the companies and the founders so that our credibility can help the founders get in a drying season that support the capital they need. So I think Tajdeed also is extremely important moving forward, especially for the next 10 years when the cycle actually completely changes, where the VC drying up event will actually, the founders will actually require more and more credibility. And as a matter of fact, we have seen that already. The companies that we have invested actually found a much larger footing in the next round of fundraising, just because they had the stamp of Tajdeed on it, because they have been vetted by us already. So we have seen those examples as well. So agreed. The really defining factor is complete strategy end to end, go to market from idea. Number 2 is synergize. So, make sure that you do not do stuff that you don't need to and just, hey, talk to this guy. And the third thing is, of course, credibility. I think that actually is extremely important. And believe me, even being part of the group, I have to prove myself every day that I should be part of the group. So it's good to know that we have a whole system that goes forward. I'm gonna open up for the panelists one by one. If you can raise hands if you want to add something, and otherwise I'll move to question and answers. Dr. Hayat, sir.
I just want to add one more point, because people always think about the stability in Pakistan, Pakistan rupee value and economy, and VCs being drying up over here. Honestly, our first phase of investment has been in the ideas. We want to bring that idea to the proof of concept, and then whole world is open to market that idea. So we are not limited by any means to, and we're not investing in the area like operational, where something happens and we lose our money. So we are really investing into the ideas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hayat. So yes, truly the vision is to be a global organization for Pakistanis and Pakistani diaspora from all stages, all the way from the idea stage to, uh, direct, Series D funding, which again, it's not important that we can bring capital right away. As I said, we can bring connections, networking, even clients for your startup as we move forward. Thank you for that clarification. One thing I would like to add personally too is that some of, let's say, my projects would include a social impact for Pakistan itself, right? I mean, my product would be sold in first world countries, but if I want to make that available at cost or no profit in Pakistan, I can, at least rely on Tajdeed guys to let me do that. Because if I go to outside money, that thing goes away completely. So one of the things that I see within the meetings and everything is, hey, how is this going to help Pakistan and Pakistanis? Hey, how is this going to help the Pakistani diaspora? Because it doesn't matter. I mean, Pakistanis live everywhere. So I see that within the discussion of the group that they're extremely, focused that it has both a fantastic, financial opportunity, which is goal number one, clearly. And then the second is the social impact in Pakistan, and of course, number three is social impact in general. So I am extremely, what would you say, impressed by the group's ability more than me to actually make sure that these things happen. Dr. Hussain, if you don't mind, if I can add one more, Dr. Mustafa Siddiqui first for some comments, and then I'll come back to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. It was very enlightening to hear from all of you. I've known some of you virtually and some of you personally, and a pretty long time. And those who I know virtually, like Junaid and Sarwat, it is almost like this that I know them personally because it's been a long collaboration. So just a comment. And first of all, good luck with all the plans you have on Tajdeed. So I've been involved in different technological sectors in different capacities, have consulted. And one of the things was deep brain stimulation, how that technology was evolving. So there is a thing called, this is just a comment. So there's a thing called cycle of hype. I'm sure many would be familiar, but those who are not. So cycle of hype is called that there is a technology trigger. And then after that, there is a peak of inflated expectations. So the graph goes up, there's a peak of inflated expectations, and then it comes down. And that's called the trough of disillusionment. And after that, it starts gradually going up. And that's called the slope of enlightenment. And then it plateaus and gradually goes up. And that's called the plateau of productivity. So what I found is that many times this graph is applicable. This was developed by a tech sector, and sometimes it is not, but it's good to be aware about whatever you are developing, where you are in this cycle. It helps you plan forward and to think about what lies ahead. So with that, that was my only comment, and best of luck.
Thank you. Dr. Razak, quick comment, and then we'll move to Dr. Sarwat Hussain for quick comments because we are running out of time, sir.
Thank you, Junaid. I think I was part of this group, and I'm totally convinced about the efforts. And recently I visited Pakistan, and I
still part of the group.
Yes, yes. And recently I visited Pakistan, and I see, the challenges are huge. Like just seen the budget, which was announced yesterday, and the health budget from the federal government has been contained to say like 90%. So suddenly it is slashed from 153 billion to just like 19 billion. So the same is the case with other social sector. Like we are just spending 1.7% of the GDP on education, and our real resources are the youth bulge. And these organizations, where I can call them not the NGO but the NGI, non-governmental individual, in their personal capacity, they can contribute a lot. And as mentioned by Mr. Minhaj Khokar, the challenges are huge, and we all have to join hand really to see. And there was some good sign as well. I visited many of the new startups in healthcare, and I have seen many success stories. So I just checked the ventilator which was developed, and many more organizations in Lahore, Islamabad, and the peripheral area. There are so many opportunities, innumerable opportunities. And I think here the Tajdeed can play a key role by providing a platform, by giving a legitimacy, the confidence, and bringing those people with the people who can invest. Trust me, just take the example. I mean, as of today, we do not have a facility for the plasma, even which is the baseline in healthcare, or the blood,
Correct.
stuff like that. So I'm not going to.
I agree 100%. The opportunity is amazing. The opportunity cost is so low because you can fail
Yes.
fast at much lower cost in Pakistan. And definitely, and we are not only looking for investors, we are looking for other expertise, we're looking for founders, and we are looking for people that can be part of, let's just say, a digital health accelerator in the future. So please do contact us, even if you're not an investor. It's not like we are not entertaining anyone other than investors. Dr. Hussain, sir, final
Very
few
quickly,
words. And
very, very quickly, I was just wanted to point out to everyone that our market is not only Pakistan, but if our solutions work in Pakistan, they will be suitable for other low and middle income countries in Asia and Africa. So I think we should keep that in mind. Thank you.
actually, depending on the solution that we're creating, the market is always going to be global. I just want to point out one last thing, that we are actively working on other organizations that are doing the same things. So we are not building our own, apni masjid khada nahi kar rahe. Basically, what we are doing is that we are basically trying to figure out the digital health and the healthcare sector, not just digital, the healthcare sector. And we are working with Open, we're working with POC Launch, we're working with any other organizations as well, to make sure that we provide our main three goals: synergy, credibility, and access. So as I said, thank you so much, everyone. I will let Dr. Shahid close this out today. As again, he has been inspired me to join and do this hard work as well. You're mute, sir.
Sorry. Thank you, Junaid. I really appreciate your moderating it and your enthusiasm, and really your competence in digital health is second to none. But to close up, I would say it's a humble effort. It's something that is very close to our heart. We are not going to boast the big solutions, and but I think the niche that we found is what we know. So really, the strength and the hope for success is that we are going to do the things that we know. And second, I think the success that we found is that we are very receptive, flexible, open. So we want as many doctors and non-doctors, scientists and non-scientist investors who would like to make a difference and looking for for-profit opportunities of investment, to please talk to us one-to-one. There was some comment by Dr. Motan in the chat that I was looking and actually replying, that our youth, so many of our friends and doctors' children are going to really, really great universities and also companies, high-tech companies, and working there or going there or learning about all these things. And we need them. I think we will so welcome them. Any youth, any other person on this path that you think, or our viewers, attendees at this point, please spread the word. We would make time to listen to each and every person. All are important, especially the youth who are born here, who got this knowledge of entrepreneurship and tech, health tech in particular, but any knowledge is welcome. So I think we are very open. We really would like to listen and learn from all of you. Thank you.
Danish, when are we going to meet as far as the summer conference is concerned? If you mind letting us know the next steps as far as directly contacting us, meeting with us, etc., especially in the upcoming UPNA meeting.
Yeah, we are having another follow-up symposium. It will be a merit entrepreneurship symposium as part of the UPNA summer meeting. You guys are all invited, and anybody that you know who was not in the seminar today, please let them know about that opportunity. It will be on July 16th, Saturday, from 12 noon to 1:30 p.m. It's a 90-minute session. We'll have founders there from Pakistan. We'll have, it's a collaborative symposium with Open Global. So Open Global team will be there, and all the Tajdeed members will be there to talk more about it. I want to quickly add that we're, please contact us not only as investors, but also if you're a founder and have an idea at whatever stage, you can reach out to us. And also general membership. So if you're not a founder and you're not an investor, but you're interested in entrepreneurship and you want to learn, especially if you are early in your career, if you're a youth and you're looking to understand what this is when you're ready for it, we also have general membership. So, there will be 3 categories: the partners who are investors, the founders who have ideas and products, and also members who just want to learn and educate. So anyone can reach out to us who want to be part of it and understand the entrepreneurship. And then we will have a formal structure started after summer meeting. So this was an early preview to a formal start after summer meeting. But we thought because of this merit platform, we should webinars we should announce here earlier for you guys, and then have a formal opening or start after the summer meeting during the summer symposium. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jazakallah, everyone, for attending. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for the awesome panelists. We'll see you again soon. Most likely next Saturday, we'll have an upcoming good session as well. Thanks.
Thank you.